Hi, I'm Rowan, and today we're going to look at something that we've been wanting to get for the longest time, almost as long as the Elgato capture card. We've been wanting to get this thing since we're avatar based here. It's important to have the widest field of view possible. So why do we want a wide field of view? As I reach my hands out, you can see that they start doing weird things because the camera we're using doesn't always quite capture all the details on the periphery. And we want to be able to do stuff out at the edges. So in order to do that, you need something with a wide field of view. And we're going to do the extreme for this because, well, you know, why be simple when you can do something like this? This is the ELP 180 degree fisheye lens wide angle USB camera 1080p mini box webcam. Yeah, high speed UV USB 2.0 PC cameras, CMOS, blah, 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 blah. Supposedly it gets 100 frames per second and 60 and 30. So 100 is probably going to be at a lower resolution than 1080p. This is a 1080p camera, by the way. It's not a 2 megapixel camera or whatever. Okay, we're opening the box. Okay, there. Opening ELP USB camera. Okay, interesting. And mounting screws. You don't usually get those in a webcam because this is not your usual webcam. This is supposed to be mounted on something. Let's take a look at this little baby. Yeah. Now, first thing you'll notice, this is some thick cable. This is not your run-of-the-mill puny cable. This has got some grr. Okay. And it is pretty long. Let's figure that out. 3, 6, 9, 10. It's at least 10 feet long. Oh, interesting. So there's these little screws here. And if we get our handy dandy tool set out with an itty bitty little screwdriver, loosen that side and loosen this side. Pop this around, and you can see that this is supposed to be mounted in some way that is not the usual way. All right. So those of you who are not handy enough to know how to make a mounting point, you may not like this, or you may end up having to buy some stuff to make this work. Us, we don't have so many problems with that. We will need somewhere to mount it though. For now, we'll just set it down in a little spot, like right there. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work for now. We have a little place to seat it. And then we're going to plug it into a USB 2 port because, well, why would we plug it into something slower than it wants? Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. We accidentally unplugged our old camera while we were at it. Okay, so let's try taking a look at this other camera. There we go. So, oh my God, everything's reversed. Reverse world. So anyhow, this is the camera. See, it's tiny. You can tell it's tiny. This is a little clock next to it, and this is a USB mouse. And you can see how tiny that is compared to other things like the regular camera that I'm holding. Shoot. Okay, so this little Klein tools, which is backwards, I'm sorry, everything's backwards right now, is about the size of our previous webcam. And you can see how absolutely dinky this thing is. Yeah, so it's small and it's got a funky kind of rack. Oh, gonna give everybody queasies. Here we go, that's the best. So its mounting is not regular. It's just got a little, like a rectangular clamp. And it's got a little screw hole, and you can see that we've Velcroed a frame piece into the other frame piece that we had the other camera attached to originally. And yeah, so yes, you've seen people holding mics. I'm the guy, girl, creature, being holding the camera to videotape the camera to videotape herself while she's on a screen as an avatar. Yeah, that's a first, I think. All right, so that is the ELP. It has some physical oddities in that it doesn't have a regular mount, but little know-how, and you can make your own mount for it. It's tiny. It doesn't have a microphone, which I find refreshing, because in my experience, the only people who need a microphone attached to a web camera are the people who are just zooming for the first time and don't understand anything about audio and what's required. Once you've done this for a while, you realize that if you really want to be understood, you need a separate microphone. And as a online person who's constantly doing YouTube stuff, I get very tired. Mr. R gets very tired. We get very tired about having to dig through 3 or 4 microphones that attach to web devices, to web cameras, when we just want to deal with a real mic and having it clutter up our system. So it's nice. Excuse me. We have to make some adjustments here, but because of this new camera. Speaking of adjustments, I did say that this was a 180-degree camera, right? So let's take a look at what it looks like. Here we go. Okay, so this is adjusted. We had to do some special stuff. We'll get into that. This is what the ELP looks like when you first hook it up, minus the fact that we did some lighting adjustments in the system settings. Okay, so in Bluetooth devices, we're going to find our camera. This one. There we go. Yes. So here's our camera, and out of the box, the brightness was something like here or something. And we just had to go through and make adjustments in the brightness, a little bit of contrast. Oh, and we also had to make sure that we turned on a couple of things. We needed to set the advanced camera options to be used so that we can have multiple devices, and the media type, we specifically told it to be 16:9 and 30 FPS. You can tell Windows to choose, but then it can do some weird things you don't want it to. And we found that different resolutions had different lighting levels. Yeah, which meant it was just kind of interesting working with that. But this is your basic stuff here, just setting the lighting, setting the contrast, setting the saturation so that you get something that looks nicer than, what comes out of the box. And then you saw that we have this big spheriness to it, right? We were here, and then what did we do here? How did we get here? Why is Mr. R's hand so long like this? Well, this is a little filter which adjusts things for us. We need to show you that too, I'm sure. We needed to download a script actually from OBS, from the website. Let's see, here we go. So obsproject.com forum resources, unfish lens, blah, 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 1532.1532. We'll put a link somewhere, I'm sure. But you download this script. Here, let me get smaller. Here we go. So you download this script here, and the directions are right over here. Download it and navigate to Tools, Scripts, Add with the little plus button there, and then insert the yada yada. Right click, it's easier to show you, isn't it? So Tools menu, Scripts item, and then you see we have the filter fish lens.lua already there. But you wouldn't have that there normally. You'd hit plus, and then you'd find your downloaded file wherever you put it. Click on open. It adds it here, okay? It's really that simple. Once you close it, now the question is, how do you actually use it, right? Well, that would be by going to your actual video source. So like in our case, we named it ELP in our webcams, but you need to go to the filters. So you would right click on the ELP item and click on filters, and that would bring up this one here with the effects. And you would just go here, add unfish fish. And that's what we did. We added this filter, and you see it has a strength value, and right now it's set to negative. If we set it to 0, okay, somewhere around 0, but you see how we can get really big too. Yeah, and we can get really small too. But what we wanted was something with straight sides, which is what we got there, negative 0.263. All right, that's how we have the straight edges. And then because there's a bunch of stuff here we don't need to look at, we switched it over, cropping it in a little bit and zooming it up, and here we go. So that's all we had to do to make this functional for what we're doing. I'm pretty sure this is applicable to non-VTubers, non-avatar streamers, non-avatar YouTubers, because you can see I've got all this room around me now to be able to do things, to be able to show things. Instead of what we had before, this is what the main webcam shows. Obviously, it's not centered very well. And that was my best camera before. And yeah, if you want to do close-up work, that's fine. But if you want for any reason to be able to see more of what's around you than is here right now, there you go. Now you've got all this room to be able to do stuff. And as you can see, I can stretch out my arm now, as opposed to it being kind of locked up because, yeah, there's stuff involved here. And speaking of which, because we're doing stuff with a avatar, there's a whole bunch of adjustments we had to make, which is outside of the scope of this little video. I'm hoping we can get this edited down to something reasonable. But yeah, oh, I forgot to tell you the prices and stuff, right? So the pluses and minuses of this. Number one, it's small. Number two, it doesn't have a microphone. Number three, it's 180-degree arc. Number four was fairly easy to configure. I just told you a bunch of pluses, right? And, well, this is a neutral. The cost is about $55, something like that for this camera, which I know, it's expensive. Oh my God. You know, you can spend $50 easily on any web camera and get something that does other things and doesn't do what this does. If this is what you want, $50 is really worth it. And considering that before we got this, we did a bunch of research and at least one person said this camera doesn't work for crap, we decided we had to get the camera based on that statement alone. Why? Well, it wasn't that expensive, and if someone says it's crap, it might be crap, or it might be that one person didn't quite get the little memo you need for this particular piece of equipment to work. And yeah, so here we are. I was going to try to tell you some negatives about this, right? Unfortunately, I don't think I have any yet. I haven't seen any. I mean, maybe the fact that it's got such a wide angle view, it caused all sorts of problems with our V-tubing setup. We had to do a bunch of adjustments to our field of view, our avatar size, our locations on the screen adjustments, and in the process we ended up blowing away our preferences for Electron and finding out that we had not set up the backup for that stuff. Yeah, that's another project. So yeah, here we are. Took us all day to make this short video, and I hope you enjoyed the short video that we made. It was no effort at all, I swear. I hope you enjoyed being with us today, and I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope to see you again next time. So until then, bye!